Russia seems to be making breakthroughs in various areas. That is, no, no. I have to go here first. This raised my blood pressure. This raised my blood pressure. Take a look at this. This is U.S. envoy to Lebanon, Tom Barrack. He's talking to journalists. And I want you to hear what he says to these journalists as he's having this conversation with them.
All right, back down, please. Yes? Okay, if everyone could take their seats, we're going to ask Ambassador Barrack to come up.
Okay, everybody. No. I'm not going up there. No. Morgan, go. Hey, wait. Let's have one rule. Okay? You just had three of the most. Hello. Okay, wait. This we're gonna have a different set of rules, right? Please be quiet for a moment. And I want to tell you something. The moment that this starts becoming chaotic, like animalistic, we're gone. So you want to know what's happening? Act civilized, act kind, act tolerant, because this is the problem with what's happening in the region. So I beg you, do you think this is fun for us? Do you think this is economically beneficial for Morgan and I to be here putting up with this insanity? In cadence, with your kindness, your interest, and your thoughtful questions, we'll give you responses. If that's not how you'd like to operate, we're gone. Okay? Is that acceptable to everybody? Now, what are we doing? I can't even have 2 minutes.
This clip is amazing. That clip is amazing. He is, and to give you a bit of context about what is taking place in Lebanon, the United States has been working with Israel in order to subvert and, frankly, throw the Lebanese government in chaos. The people, the president and the prime minister, has effectively worked with the U.S. to pass through a bill, or trying to pass through a bill, to disarm Hezbollah. Hezbollah has effectively told them to F off. We're not doing that. The majority of the country is like, F off. We don't even want them to do that, whether we like Hezbollah or not. So they're putting pressure on these guys effectively to do that, to create all of this political chaos. At the exact same time, the U.S. is working with the jihadist government in Syria, the ISIS president, and having those filthy animals to effectively line up with potential attacks on that same Lebanon. So while Israel is also attacking Lebanon during a ceasefire, and while the Wahhabi animals that the U.S. is basically backing in Syria are trying to attack Lebanon, they are creating political chaos. So you can imagine that the people are very angry, A, that the U.S. is backing a terrorist, genocidal state, Israel, as they murder dangerous babies, or Hamas babies, as they call them, or for that matter, even scare the hell out of school kids, and the bombings that have taken place, and the killings and the murders that they've committed, the theft of territory that they've been involved in, knowing full well that the U.S. has their back 100%. That trash, Tom Barrack, has the gall. He has the gall to go into a country after behaving in such a way and say that the people who are the victims are being animalistic, that this is the problem with the region. You're the problem with the region. It's you, you filthy trash. When Tom Barrack's head hits the floor, when his heart stops and he shits himself one last time, this planet will be 1 ounce brighter. It will gleam in space 1 ounce, whatever the increment of illumination is, brighter, that this trash is no longer part of this reality space. How on earth Just because you are wearing a suit doesn't mean you're not undispensed trash. You are. And the idea of an animal, a filthy animal at that, calling other people animalistic. This is the problem with the region. As you set fire, kill, murder, maim, back at genocide in that region is breathtaking. It's just breathtaking. I don't even know the English or another word for it. It is rather astonishing. You would need poets sitting in a room coming up with something in order to try to describe the level of hypocrisy that is taking place in this moment. They're not being animalistic, they're being human beings. And as rational human beings, trying to get at what the chaos that you and your animals in Israel, your animals in Syria, are creating. They're not the animals, they're being rational. You're the filthy animal in this situation. You have no right to go to people who are in the middle of chaos that you have created and call those people animalistic. That is outrageous. That is outrageous. I think he is being honest in the way that he sees it. And as I've always told you, I really do prefer to know the animal or the monster that I'm effectively dealing with. But they are not there to the benefit of Lebanon. He's like, hey, man, I mean, look, do you think it pays for me to be here? Do you think it's in my interest? Yeah, because you're there. The U.S. is not going to do anything that's outside of his interest. And the interest in this case is the destruction and complete subjugation of Lebanon to pacify it to the degree that Palestine or the West Bank is pacified. Lebanon, with Hezbollah, had the ability to respond. They don't have air defense, and the military is absurd. They won't fire a shot in anger. There's not an ounce of courage in the political leaders that are effectively there, either as the president or the prime minister. And so you have a captured state on some level that is not responding to the devastation that Israel is effectively causing in that state. That's what you have. That's why he's there. They're not the animals. They're being human beings in outrage. And you just don't like it. Man, when I'm trying to destroy your country, I don't understand why you guys are treating me this way. Why are you complaining with me trying to destroy and effectively destroy your country? What is your issue? And I'm not going to stay in here and listen to it. If you're going to yell at me, be civilized as I try to destroy your state. Be civilized as we're going to get all of these people killed. Be civilized as the Wahhabis attack your country. Be civilized as Israel bombs and murders your children and women. Just be calm. Trash. Barrack. This guy. Human excrement. Tom Barrack. What an outrageous clip. What an outrageous thing to say. Even if you thought that, which I would imagine many of the leaders that are coming from the U.S. think that, because after all, Western exceptionalism thinks is better, morally superior, and can tell other people and countries what to do. But see, therein lies the rub. That is not a strength, that's a weakness. That is the thing that makes you filth, not the other way around. The people who you are killing and destroying, you are literally backing the murder of women and children, with you then calling those babies dangerous because you have to come up with a justification for putting 20 bullets in a child. That's you. That's you. That's not them. That's you. You're doing that. You're backing that. Those are your policies. Policies, by the way, that you want to bring to Lebanon. Human excrement, Tom Barrack. Human excrement, Tom Barrack. Out effing rageous. Out effing rageous. I accept and appreciate your honesty, Tom. I appreciate your honesty. I hope you get cancer. And I hope it hurts. And I hope you linger for a decade with that painful bone cancer before you finally hit your head on the ground and drop dead. That is my fervent wish for you, Tom Barrack, and for everybody else that is effectively backing, pursuing that genocide, and for that matter, has all of these negative intentions with what is taking place in the region. I will show you something else, by the way, something that Tom Barrack apparently backs. Israel, this is what the people Tom Barrack is working with is doing. Think of the trauma that these kids have. This is a school where Israel nearly murdered all of these children in a bombing near the school. This takes place every day, and it is a blessing, just a random bit of luck that these kids weren't murdered. And Israel would have turned around and said, well, they were dangerous children. That kid that had the blocks, that kid that was near the chair, he probably had a gun somewhere. That could have been your child. That could have been any of your kids. That could have been any of your kids. What do those kids think in this moment? Tell me that. What is on the mind of those children in this moment after experiencing something like that? Is that trauma? What do they think of the people who are bombing them? They know they're not ISIS. That school teacher is not ISIS. None of them are. And yet, they nearly lost their lives with their teacher not having any capability of doing anything in the situation, but huddling down and screaming and praying that they don't lose their life. Maniac, terrorist, genocidal government. That's who Tom Barrack backs. I mean, for F6, I can even show you this one. I mean, you've seen this video, but, let it sink in. Double tap. Israel bombs a hospital because the hospital has dangerous people apparently in the hospital. After spending months saying Israel doesn't bomb hospitals. After Israel bombs a hospital and you get rescue workers going to support and help.
لهذا الزميل الصحفي حسام المصري.
لا حصل الآن نعم. الآن خليك يا الله راح الدفاع المدني قتلوا الناس راح الدفاع المدني قتلوا الناس استهداف كبير الآن كما تشاهدون في هذه الصورة تدمير كبير قصف عنيف جدا
لهذا الزميل.
I gotta be honest with you. I don't exactly want to get rid of Barrack in the chat. I want him to see it. I want him to own that. And everything that comes out of his mouth is just an enunciation of him backing genocidal, filthy maniacs that are effectively on a murder and kill spree, murdering innocent women and children, and yes, old men, etc., bombing and destroying hospitals. That is what he backs. Let him say whatever he wants. He has to own that and wear that badge. Now, he may not think that that badge is all that bad. That only gives you a sense of who he is as a person and as an individual. Let him own it. Let him wear that. Disgusting, filthy animal. That's what he is. And that's what the people who are effectively affecting this level of genocidal terror all throughout that region, not to mention the people in the countries that effectively supported it. That's on him. That's on them. That's on Tom Barrack. That's on Tom Barrack. Just utterly and entirely disgusting. Utterly and entirely disgusting. I look, I get it. He's a troll. And you don't like him as a troll. And oftentimes I'll put him in timeout. But he is a point of view. And he is a point of view that is espoused on Israeli media. He's a point of view that is effectively espoused all over the place in the halls of Washington and the halls of many locations. And to make that even worse, Israel came out, apologized for it. And after apologizing for it, it was like, yeah, we're sorry about that. We don't target civilians. We don't do those things. And you think to yourself, who are you telling this to? Who are you trying to convince? And I've come to the conclusion that they're not trying to convince anybody, that this is just mocking the victims at this point, because nobody believes their lies. Nobody at this point. Maybe Barrack, or whatever the hell his name is, does. Nobody else does. You get the military then coming out upset. We are angry because you said this was an accident. This was not an accident. We intentionally murdered those journalists, and we intentionally attacked a hospital and emergency workers. That's what we did. So don't claim it was an accident. Think of the country that you have to be in where the government says, hey, it was a mistake, because they realize how bad it looks. And mind you, this is like 2 years after murdering women and children on social media everywhere that can be watched. Imagine how bad it looks that you've murdered all of these journalists and emergency workers, where you have to come on and say, oh, okay, we have done some horrible and disgusting things that we've covered the entire time. But this was an accident, and we will investigate. Trust us. Take our word for it. We're the most moral military on the planet. That's what we are. And then the military comes out and says, we take offense that you said it was a mistake. We intentionally murdered those people. That's what we did. We own it. We want to own it. It was our job. That's amazing. But that is the government that you're effectively dealing with. That is the government that Tom Barrack backs. That is the government that Barrack backs. So when Tom comes out and claims that the people who he is getting killed are the animals, that is a magnificent, breathtaking, knockdown level of not just hypocrisy, but a complete denial of reality itself. It is amazing. It is amazing. Just outright amazing. I'll go to the chat real quick. Get rid of Barrack S in the chat. Thank you. Again, I want him to own that shit for a while. Guy in a suit thinks he's civilized while killing babies. Yes. Think about that. I'm in a suit, so obviously I'm civilized, right? They put Jelani in a suit, head chopper, and does that civilize Jelani? Many people think so. He's going to be speaking at the United Nations. I just did a little head chopping in my youth. I wonder if he's going to bring that up. Oh, I would love to hear that conversation. I did a little head chopping in my youth, but I'm through that phase now, so I haven't chopped a head in a few years. That's what I want to hear. That's what I want to see take place. I will be fascinated by that. Absolutely, utterly